of these ring a bell to you?
Maybe a trip coming up, but not that.
Where?
Well, maybe Sedona or someplace like that.
Why?
Excitement
Specifically why?
to connect with the energy vortexes there.
One moment. Do you know anyone living there?
A couple acquaintances.
So you would be the out-of-town guest.
That would be nice.
One moment. One moment. One moment. You may thus then be shown, handed, or discover yourself another crystalline form that can help you in your work in that location.
Cool.
Whatever temperature you want. Does that help you?
Great, yes, thank you.
Have a nice trip. When will you go?
I'd have to determine that.
Determine it. When does it intuitively feel like you would go?
Perhaps 2007.
Any particular portion of your year of 2007?
Maybe like after May into the summer kind of months.
All right.
September.
But definitely between May and September.
Okay.
Not sooner, not later. All right?
Okay.
One moment. All right. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
To you, good day.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Oh, all right.
I have a question regarding channeling and receiving information intuitively.
Yes.
I've been studying reality creation for maybe about 7 months or
Yes,
so.
yes.
Of course, now I'm realizing that I think it's been a lot longer than that. I just
Of course.
didn't know about it.
Of course.
Yeah, and actually my boyfriend and I have been practicing channeling for the past, I would say probably about the last month or so.
In
or
what
maybe a couple
style?
months. Just chatting away, just talking, and really thinking
All
we're
right.
just pulling stuff out of the air. Just for
Or
fun.
other places, perhaps.
Yeah, okay. Use your imagination with that one, right?
Yes.
Anyway, but what's interesting is that about a week ago, we had listened to one of the CDs or, one of the MP3s on the website.
Yes.
And we heard you, and we were both totally shocked, and it's not the first time it's happened with
Yes.
some other entities,
Yes.
that we found that we were saying exactly the same
thing,
things.
yes.
even down to a lot of the analogies that are
Yes.
used. And so my question in that, of course,
Yes.
it feels very natural when we're banging these ideas around, and
Yes.
it's fun.
Yes.
Some of it we think we're totally, really like, whoo, we're onto something. Other times we're like, we don't know what we're saying. But we find out later that we do indeed
All right.
know what we're saying.
Yes.
Is that channeling?
Yes.
So a lot of
But
times...
channeling is just being in the appropriate state
Right.
to receive information you need to receive at that moment.
Right.
From whatever source it needs to come from, be it yourself or somewhere else.
Right.
Because it's all the same.
Because it's all the same. But it does feel all the same, and it feels very natural.
Yes.
And
it is
so-
natural to all of you.
Of course. Now...
Yes, it is.
and I do realize that. I definitely feel that. But how is it that we can learn to separate it a little bit to say, aha, I'm channeling right now, versus,
Why would you
aha,
need to?
I'm pulling it out of the air.
Why would you need to?
I think it would be nice to kind
Why?
of know.
Why?
Well, let's see here. Some of the stuff I'm feeling
Would
like I'm
knowing
making
that
up.
in any way, shape, or form improve your ability?
I believe it would.
How?
Because I would know that there isn't a separation in the sense that some of the stuff I really feel like I'm making up.
That is sometimes how it's supposed to feel.
I would like to give off the air when I'm talking to people that I'm not making it up.
Give off an air?
Yeah, just kind of let them know that I feel like I really know what I'm talking about.
Why?
Because I think that I can help them.
So? Say, I may not know what I'm talking about, but here's an idea that may help you.
Oh, that's a good way. That's a good way of saying it.
Why, thank you.
I like that. Okay. I think I was just looking for the semantics of words.
There you go.
But I have one other question, actually,
Yes.
regarding dreams.
Yes.
I've had lots of really cool, intricate dreams. And some of them, I would say the ones that are coming to my head now,
Yes.
I've been doing a lot of flying in airplanes.
Yes.
Some were co-pilots. Actually, one that stands out is I helped somebody actually land a plane who wasn't a pilot.
Yes.
I helped him visualize the landing, and I was like, this is in my best interest because I really don't want to crash right now.
All right.
Anyway, so a lot of plane dreams. No real fear. And actually, the last one I was flying the plane myself. It was
Yes.
kind of fun.
All right, very good.
So I wanted to know if there was any what kind of symbolism.
Well,
Flying
many
has.
different things can be represented by that. Obviously, it can represent processes that you are going through in your life in terms of your, shall we say, assessment of your ability to fly with those ideas and carry them through your life successfully. They are also maybe memories of actually being out of your body. They may also be memories of having interactions on spacecraft that are being interpreted as aircraft. You follow me?
Yeah.
Many different things can be happening in those particular symbologies.
Gotcha. Okay, some more symbolism. How about I've seen a lot of things in the clouds, lots of shapes and pretty pictures and things like that.
Yes.
Fish and numbers and
Again, physical reality is nothing but a mirror. What it reflects to you is simply representative of the vibrational state you are in, so that the physical reality mirror acts as a check and balance to remind you of exactly where you are, so you can decide to either maintain it, perpetuate it, or change it.
some of the stuff seems random. So if it's a mirror of
But
like,
you
say-
know it's not.
I know it's not random. I know, but
Then why even bother saying that it seems that it is?
well, because I guess I'm trying to understand what the symbols mean, and
No,
no,
no. They mean nothing.
that's that
You
was,
give them the meaning you prefer to give them.
okay.
That's what they're for.
So take this and do what you want with it, basically.
That's what life is all about.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a good that's a good
I
way
am
of doing
keeping
it.
this very simple because
Yeah.
I can sense that you're going towards complexity.
Okay.
And I understand
have a tendency
that it
to do
will,
that.
Well, a choice.
A choice.
And I understand that it will serve you best if you simply keep it simple.
Okay.
All right?
Very good. I think that's about it.
Pleasant dreams.
Well, thank you. We go on next. I think he's nice. Okay.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
Good day. Bashar, a couple questions about you. First of all, where's your ship? Your ship currently?
Still above Cairo.
How far?
2,735 miles.
Getting closer. Like that.
It goes up and down.
Okay. And what happens in
No, you cannot see it.
what happens in the day in the life of an Esasani?
Anything and everything.
So there's no structure at all? Because, like, for
Of
example...
course.
Okay.
But it happens in the moment. Well, for example, obviously, I communicate with many different civilizations in preparation for contact. That's my job.
Okay, and
But
before...
I'm also a pilot
But before
and an
you-
explorer.
But before you get up to do your job, is
Get
there like
up?
a... Yeah, well, I mean... is there like... Yeah.
I
is there-
don't get down to get up.
So you don't sleep? There's no rest time,
We do not
rejuvenation
sleep
time? or-
anymore.
Okay.
We used to. No longer is that necessary for us because we are in connection with our higher selves in an awake state.
Wow.
We are constantly awake and constantly dreaming.
Cool. Okay, are there any... Humans tend to have a couple of, and was talked about earlier today, fears, death and falling as some of the primary ones. Are there any fears or limitations that Esasani are experiencing?
There are no fears,
Okay.
thank you. Any limitations we experience are self-imposed to serve a particular purpose.
So you choose them?
Of course. We choose to maintain some degree of physicalness to our being so that when we can ultimately interact with you, you will have something to relate to. So we impose a limitation on ourselves so that you will be able to relate to us. When we communicate with you in this way, right now, we impose limitations on what we're capable of knowing so that we will not inadvertently expose something in your process that would interfere with it.
Got it. So, okay, so you're becoming aware of our commonalities and differences just like you told us to do.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. And since
We are of average about 5 feet tall of your height, whitish gray skin coloration, relatively slender. We are actually related to you genetically, are the product of the hybridization program of the beings that you call the Greys. In that sense, you will find the males have no hair, the females do. It tends to be white, sometimes it is not. Our eyes are larger than yours, and the closest approximation on your planet that you might make to us ethnically would be something in the order of a very exaggerated version of Tibetan, but very slender. Yes.
Thank you. And since we're talking about contact with new beings, have you had any more contact with the Thuk?
Oh, yes.
And what can you tell us about that? Because I know last time it was, or last I heard anyways, you could, in their presence you're aware of them, but when you're not, you don't remember about them.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we have discovered why that is so because of their nature, and we have learned how to replicate that. So that through this process of contact, you will realize that many of us have actually already had physical contact with many of you, but we have learned how to allow it to happen in such a way that you don't remember that it's happened. And thus, in that way, we can have contact, but it doesn't interfere with your process.
Got it.
So
Okay.
we have learned that from the Thuk.
Cool. And just one sharing as well, because we've been talking about some duality always existing.
Yes.
Just a metaphor that I use is, on Earth we tend to look at a glass that's got some water in it, and we say it's either half full or half empty.
Yes.
And I like to remind people that it's always full, just two different substances.
In a sense, that is one way to look at it.
Yes.
Another way to look at it is it's simply a glass of water. Drink it or don't.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
This is my first experience with you.
It is my first experience with you. What a coincidence.
And it's
How often does that happen? Well, once, I guess.
and it's been such a heart opening.
All right, thank you.
I want to thank you, and I want to express my appreciation for the balance and the love with which you answer each of our questions.
And our appreciation to you as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to know just a little bit more about on your planet.
Yes.
So then you probably don't need to eat or
We
need
do not
shelter.
eat any longer. There are very few structures on our planet. It is mostly park-like. Our cities are our ships. The planet has been left in a relatively park-like fashion. It is very much greener than yours. There is, in that sense, a higher oxygen content, although you could survive there. You might be a little dizzy at first until you acclimate. The gravity is slightly less. It might be, in some senses, slightly warmer for you from time to time, because our sun is hotter. But the idea also is that whatever needs to occur on the surface will occur in terms of the comings together of things or the creation of a structure if there is need for one. But mostly in that sense, our cities are our ships, and there are trees and park-like areas and animals on our planet.
And is there what we would call an economy, or is it just about cooperation?
It is just about synchronicity. We have, in that sense, unlimited energy to do whatever we want. There is no need for an economic structure to regulate that. It is self-regulating.
And are the peoples finished with characteristics that we think of, such as greed and impatience and warlike tendencies?
We have no need of those, but thank you for offering them. You see, again, it's really a matter of perspective. Because if we understand life in the way we understand it, and everything that's happening right now is exactly what's supposed to be happening, and we're very excited about whatever it is that is happening, then we're never wanting to be anywhere else. And because we are never waiting to be anywhere else, we don't even need patience. And because we don't need patience, that's why we're never impatient.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes. And besides showing us that there is another choice, does the Middle East serve any other purpose on our planet right now?
It serves the purpose of allowing ideas that are ancient to be played out, old stories to be played out, and brought to the surface in a way that will bring to a head the choices that you are making on this world and what they could lead to if you choose to go in that direction. But it is the assimilation of old ideas, ancient ideas, and the opportunity for each and every one of you to discover your way of relating to them so that you can integrate those, and by thus integrating them within yourself, give off a vibration that allows them to finish integrating their stories, their processes, and so forth. It is far more than that. But at this point, we do not have, in your terms, time enough in this transmission to address all of the ideas. More may come on this at a later time.
Thank you. And one last
Yes.
personal question. For about a year and a half, I've been waking up many mornings with a headache and feeling exhaustion.
Yes.
Do you have any comment to help me with that?
For how long?
What's been going on for about a year and a half?
One moment. For how long does the headache and the exhaustion last?
Usually it's probably gone, the headache is gone within the first hour usually. Sometimes it lasts longer, and the exhaustion is beginning to feel like it's lasting throughout the day.
Did your life experience a different kind of change or pressure at that time, 1.5 of your years ago?
I changed my bedroom, but
To do what?
just the room in which I'm sleeping. Maybe the air is not adequate.
One moment. You might, if you have not already done so, attempt a detoxification process to clean out your body and see if that helps you. All right?
Thank you very much.
One moment. One moment. One moment. Is there some place in nature that you also like to be that you haven't been for in a while?
Yes,
Where?
at the water, in the beach, in the warm.
Is there some place you can go to take advantage of that?
I'll create that.
All right. It might be at this point in your life wise for you to reconnect to nature in a very earthly and grounded way
Yes.
and breathe deeply of those nature essences. All right?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. At this timing, allow us to suggest to each and every one of you that you take a moment to close your eyes and to recognize that from moment to moment to moment to moment, you are constantly reinventing yourself, literally, physically, jumping from parallel reality to parallel reality to parallel reality that is representative of the vibration you happen to be at any given moment. You are never sitting still, never dormant, never static. You are made in the image of the infinite creation, and that means you are always creating, whether you are aware of it or not. And when I say creating, I mean that at every moment you make a change, you make a total change, a complete change in the entirety of your universal experience. Guide yourself through this experience, through this process, by being, at any given moment, the state of being that you prefer to be, the vibration you prefer to be. It's your choice. There is no reason not to be who you prefer to be other than the reasons you invent for yourself. No contradiction comes from all that is to what you believe most strongly you are. It supports you utterly, totally, unconditionally, moment to moment to moment. Relax into the certain knowledge that all that is does not create mistakes. If you exist, you deserve to. If you deserve to exist, you deserve to exist how you choose to be. But only by being that state will you experience the reality that goes with it. For that is the state of creation itself. We will, at this time, extend to each and every one of you our deepest appreciation at the co-creation of this contact, for this is a contact, and will lead to others of a variety of natures and kinds, on all levels. You are never alone, and this is an active program, an active agenda in which you are actively participating. And this is but one moment, one phase, one chapter in a new direction of history. You are rewriting yourselves, and it is an exciting story that is unfolding. Feel it, ride with it, be in it. Be the character you were created to be. Our unconditional love to you all, our appreciation to you all, our gratitude to you all. Good day. How'd it go? Thank you all again for being here. Appreciate it.
Once again, each and every time our civilization is afforded the opportunity to interact with your civilization in this manner, it opens up our understanding of all the different ways that the infinite can express itself through our perceiving each and every one of your unique points of view. So we thank you for this gift. We would like to begin this interaction and this transmission with the following idea. We would like to discuss the notion of vibrational residue, so to speak. The idea being that from time to time we have discussed and we have mentioned the principle called resonance identification. And we have discussed many times the idea that everything is vibration of energy, and that, of course, as many of you already know, whatever frequency, whatever vibrational rate you are operating on is what determines, of course, the reality experience that is reflected back to you through the experience of physical reality. But the idea expressed in the way that we would like to discuss this day of your time is a little bit more focused on the concept of resonance domains, frequency domains, strata of experiences that are each representative of a particular bandwidth or frequency or rate of vibration of energy, and how your actions, your choices of what frequencies and energies you give off actually create, in a sense, a reservoir or a buildup of vibrational residue in a particular frequency domain. For example, the idea that we have talked about from time to time that is phrased in what you would call your biblical literature as judge not, yes, in that way ye be judged. And as we have explained, meaning simply that you are not being judged by someone else, but in a sense are becoming the vibration of judgment and thus experiencing judgment reflected back to you. That is the meaning of that phrase. Let us take that a little bit more specifically to understand that in any given circumstance and situation, how you respond, how you react in that circumstance, in that situation, will create there to be a repository of energy of that particular frequency that becomes associated with that particular circumstance or situation. We know that you have certain kinds of situations on your planet. We will choose one to act as a fundamental example of what we are talking about. You have the circumstance on your planet called automobile traffic. You have expressed many times that in certain circumstances, many of you will become very angry, very frustrated, and will perhaps react in a very negative way You will put out a particular frequency vibration of confrontation and conflict. And the idea to understand is that when you do that, you allow there to be a strong association of that particular output to that particular circumstance or situation in general. So that if you yourself then in the future should find yourself in the very same circumstance or situation on the same frequency vibrational level again, whatever it is as a vibrational deposit that you left last time, you will then experience being reflected back to you the next time. In that sense, it is similar to the concept of self-imposed karma, self-created karma, in that if you create conflictive vibrations, frustration vibrations, anger vibrations in the first situation, then the next time you find yourself in a similar situation, it may not necessarily come back to you in exactly the same way, but come back to you it will. Because you have, in a sense, associated that circumstance with that frequency and will automatically find yourself at the receiving end of the frequency that you gave off. The idea is that you may not receive it in the same way. Individuals may not necessarily curse at you, as you say, as you may have done the first time to them. But you may experience it either that way, or you may experience all of a sudden an overwhelming sense, perhaps now that you are in their shoes, doing exactly the same thing that you cursed them out for before the first time. You may feel a sense of overwhelming shame. You may feel a sense of guilt. Not that you deserve to, not that you need to, but the idea is that this energy will come back to you in some way, for everything requires balance. And if you leave a deposit of that vibration connected to such a circumstance, then when you find yourself crossing that wavelength again, you will pick up the baggage that you left before. Because it is associated to you. It is keyed to you. It came from you. It belongs to you. It will come back to you. The idea is that, again, it may come back to you in a variety of ways. Either it will be literally reflected in exactly the same way that you gave it off, or you will feel it or experience it in your life in some manifestation that is indicative of the same vibrational level. Things suddenly may not work too well for you. Things may start to fall apart. You may feel certain emotions that are unpleasant for you. All because, to begin with, you allowed yourself to succumb to a particular vibration that may have really no benefit for you constructively, and in giving it off and associating it and attaching it to that circumstance, then it doesn't allow you to be free to experience that circumstance in the future in a clear and neutral way. Whenever you make such an association, you automatically limit the way in which you can experience that circumstance in the future until you clarify that energy as you have put it in to begin with. Always it is of great benefit and greater benefit to allow yourself the opportunity to experience any circumstance in a fundamentally neutral way, so that you can then decide to extract from the circumstance, no matter how it looks, a fundamentally positive or constructive outcome. But if you have already made the association of negative energy, so to speak, or more precisely, conflictive or discordant energy to that circumstance, then that's what you leave there for yourself to find the next time you cross that particular threshold. And in that sense, it'll be an opportunity for you to learn to render that circumstance into a neutral and fundamentally meaningless set of props that you can then be free to determine what kind of energy, what kind of outcome you would rather prefer to extract from the circumstance, no matter how it looks on the surface, and no matter how previously you may have been taught to think or label or judge or limit that circumstance. I remind you once again, every circumstance is neutral, and every circumstance can serve double duty, positive or negative. The meaning you put into it, the energy vibration you attach to it, is utterly what determines the effect you will get out of it, no matter what anyone else's intentions are. Going into it, you are your own reality, and you have the final say on exactly what frequency you experience and how you translate that frequency in your reality as body, as emotion, as spirit. It is up to you. So be aware of what energy you give off in any given situation, because you will pass that way again, and you will pick up that bag when you come back. Make sure it's baggage you want to carry. Otherwise, let it go so you can travel lightly. And in any given situation, then, respond quickly so that you will not have to then, in a sense, take the time to transform the baggage that was left there by you before. Baggage claim, you may call this if you wish. Now then, we thank you for allowing us to reflect this nuance of vibrational mechanics to you. And in return for the gift that you are giving our civilization at this time in experiencing this co-created interaction, I ask in what way at this time may I and my world be of service to you.
In the process right now of engaging with another society that is about to join our association of worlds, our interstellar alliance. The interactions with these beings have been going on for what you would probably call about 10 years of your time. And now they are, as you say, ready and in a state by which they can become members of this alliance. They have had many changes upon their world that allow them to move in this direction that they made by choice. And one thing that is very exciting for myself personally and for our civilization is the ability to experience their society in the way that they have presented themselves, which is a relatively unique kind of expression. They act out, every member of their society acts out stories constantly as their way of communicating ideas. So every being on their planet, in a sense, is an actor. And they create interactions to express what they wish to communicate. They create, in a sense, mini plays. Do you understand?
Yes.
And by acting out these mini plays, they convey, in general terms, the ideas that they wish to share with others. So while the plays on your planet are usually confined to the idea of a theater, so to speak, if there is anything that anyone really wishes to communicate, they will actually set it up in such a way as to allow those that they wish to receive the information to actually experience the transfer of the information as if it were the telling of a story, as if it were the acting out of a play.
I understand.
So even in what you would call a business meeting, it would actually be that a story would be told that contains all the elements they wish to convey about the idea of the process they are going through, and the idea of all the possible outcomes that could occur, of course, with the emphasis on the one that serves everyone the best, in terms of what you would call win-win scenarios. You follow me?
Yes.
And then there is, in that sense, another play that is created to experience alternative ideas that may be what you would call then the idea of negotiating the reality, so that eventually, through all of the storytelling and play acting, there is ultimately arrived at a negotiated reality experience that is then also played out, perhaps for members of the family or friends, to demonstrate the ultimate outcome or result of all the different play acting and storytelling in the back and forth exchange between the different parties. A very interesting and exciting civilization.
Sounds like it.
Yes.
I would like to know if a few of these biblical figures and characters as portrayed in the Bible are in fact real people that have such as Moses, Abraham,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. They were real historical people, if that's what you're asking.
As portrayed in the Bible?
Not completely. Some of it is metaphorical. Some of it is literal. Some of it is an analogy. Some of it is misremembered. Some of it is misinterpreted.
Okay.
Depends on what you are specifically referring to.
For example, did Solomon's temple actually exist?
Yes, it did. And in fact, it actually partly still does. There are still ruins and remnants of the temple that exist.
But you wouldn't actually say Jesus is a prophet or the Son of God.
You are all children of God,
Right, okay.
as are we. And the idea of what Jesus was talking about, or in his own language actually, Yeshua, was the idea that you are all Christs.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't looking for followers. He wasn't looking for Christians. He was saying that you are all equal to him. That, in that sense, you are all Christs. You are all children of God. And the phrase, I am the way, simply means, be the way I am. Be like me. And you will be in alignment with your full, true, total self in a relationship with creation.
But for example, when Moses was on the mountain and he received the Ten Commandments from God, what do they refer
not
to
exactly
when they say...
from what you, in your religious sects, call God.
Right.
This was actually a communication with extra-dimensional beings.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Bashar, you mentioned...
Yes.
Bashar, you mentioned that you should always act on your highest excitement.
Well, not should. I am suggesting that you might be willing to, that you might prefer it. I will never tell you what you should or shouldn't do.
Okay.
It's up to you. If you wish to not act on your highest excitement, I'm not going to stop you.
What if your highest excitement is to hurt someone else?
That's not excitement. You have to know the difference. You have to have a clear definition of what excitement is. So when someone says, my excitement is to hurt others, they actually don't have a definition or an understanding of what excitement actually is. Because the only way you would want to do that is out of anxiety and fear. Because if you truly are acting on your excitement and truly in line with a definition that is appropriate of excitement, you will know that you will be self-empowered. And if you're self-empowered, why would you need in any way, shape, or form to hurt anyone else? You understand? It's a contradictory definition. You have to have a clear definition and an understanding of what excitement is, and when you do, you will know that the concept of hurting someone else does not fall under that definition.
Please define your definition of excitement.
It is always a positive thing that allows you to know that you're fully self-empowered and capable of creating and co-creating a reality experience that is always beneficial for you and all concerned. Because remember, as we have said, the greatest power requires the gentlest touch. If you have to intervene or force yourself on someone else, then what that's actually an indication of is you don't actually believe in your own power. Because if you believed in your own power, if you knew you were powerful enough to create the reality that you prefer, why would you need in any way, shape, or form to interfere with anyone else's process? You understand?
I understand.
So you have to have a clear definition of what excitement is, and it's always self-empowering, and it's always that which is best for all concerned, not just yourself.
Understood.
All right. Yes.
Can I have your opinion and understanding about Freemasonry?
Well, that's a large subject.
It is a large subject.
Is there something specific you wish to discuss?
Where did it start? When did it-
Essentially, it started with the idea of the organization you call the Knights Templar. You understand this?
Yes.
Reference?
Yes.
The idea is that in their time, they discovered certain things, certain ideas. Now, really, some of the ideas are very, very ancient and existed way before the Knights Templar. But you ask the question in terms of where the organization of Freemasonry began. And thus then, in that form, it began with the Knights Templar, even though the information that the Knights Templar found out about was very ancient information that preceded them by thousands of years. You understand?
I do. And the information is nothing particularly to be negative. It's how you view it.
Well, yes, of course. And much of what you now understand to be the kind of metaphysical knowledge that we are discussing today is actually what they discovered that was not very well known in your world back then. So a lot of the so-called secrets of Freemasonry and secrets of the Knights Templar and secrets of the mystery schools of Atlantis are all about the metaphysical understanding of how reality works and how you manifest and attract the reality that you prefer. That's really all that information was about. In fact, that's exactly what Jesus was teaching, Buddha was teaching, Krishna was teaching. It's really all the same metaphysical information. It just wasn't really known by the masses. And so because it involved the understanding of how to really use your self-empowerment, it was framed in a way and taught in a way that made it seem to be a very big secret
because in many cases there would be a great deal of misunderstanding by the general public, and so it was thought that the only way to really preserve the information clearly and cleanly was to pass it down through the mystery schools of those organizations so that it wouldn't be corrupted. You understand?
Perfect, I do.
All right.
Will you be more in tune or standing with a higher frequency or vibration if you are a vegan or vegetarian?
It can work that way, but it again depends upon the person. There are many people who are not vegan or vegetarian who have very high vibrations. It just depends upon what you're exploring and how you explore it and how you align with things. It is possible, and maybe even generally true, for many people on your planet that a lighter diet may be more conducive to a higher frequency of energy. But that isn't always the case. So it really depends on a case-by-case basis.
Gotcha.
Make sense?
Yes.
It is wise to follow your own instincts, your own body consciousness, your own highest excitement, and what seems natural for you. But again, do remember that even Jesus ate fish. Yes?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So the idea really is what you do with it, what the relationships you form with the food, what your understanding is of gratitude for having received what the animal has given to you as a gift to support you. It depends on the relationship. Many indigenous tribes have very, very beneficial relationships with the animals that they eat. And thus it doesn't in any way, shape, or form reduce their vibration. You understand?
I do.
So really, there is a general understanding that as you raise your vibration, it may be that you will feel less need or less urge to consume heavier sustenance, so to speak, but just let that occur naturally. And if you feel the urge to simply be vegan or vegetarian, then by all means act on it and see what happens. If, however, at any point in that process you suddenly feel the need to have some form of protein sustenance that is not vegetarian, trust your body consciousness that it knows what it's doing. You may not need very much, but it may be required for a minimal amount of balancing in a certain way that you may not be acquiring through the vegan diet. But again, it will depend upon your individual frequency as to what works best for you.
Understood.
There's no need to force yourself to be more spiritual. That's a contradiction. Does that make sense?
It does.
Oh.
It does. I just have a few questions. I guess we'll start with one.
All right. That would be a good idea.
Yeah. In this physical reality of existence, is there free will?
Yes. But there is a combination of what you call free will and destiny. It works hand in hand in the following way. When you are a spirit, you generally lay out the idea for a life, the theme of exploration for a life, the things that you wish to learn, to grow from, to experience in general terms, sometimes specific, but overall a general theme or several themes that you desire to explore in the physical incarnation. You could say that that particular theme overall, or series of themes, is the destiny set by the soul. But when you are physically incarnated and have a physical mind, a personality, you are allowed to exercise your free will about exactly how you go about exploring those themes. So you are free to do a number of different things, approach it from a number of different perspectives, experience it from a number of different ways or paths. The idea is like saying that the soul sets up the hallway you will walk down, but the free will of the physical mind to determine how it will experience or walk down that hallway. It can run, it can skip, it can go backwards, forwards, upside down, side to side, crawl, you understand? So free will works in hand with the idea of destiny. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but
Yes.
if you can't change the past, how can that determine?
You do change the past.
How?
Change it all the time. Anytime you redefine who you are as a person, you actually create, in a sense, or shift to what you would call a different timeline. Thus, what you supposedly remember as your past will simply be relevant for the person you're defining yourself to be in the present. You may not even know that your past has changed, because it will seem like the past that has always been there relative to the person you are now. but it always changes. The past is the result of the present, not the other way around. Does that make sense?
Okay, I understand that. Yeah.
All right. Pay attention to your emotions. Pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to your behaviors, because your behaviors, your thoughts, and your emotions are always the result of something you believe to be true. So when you engage in any kind of action whatsoever, pay attention to what you're truly feeling. If you're honest with yourself, and it is truly being done out of integrity, out of alignment with your true self, then you will know that the feeling you're feeling is not excitement, but anxiety. And when you know it's anxiety, and you're doing it out of anxiety, or to fill the idea of an emptiness within you, then you know you're doing it for a negative reason. Find out what the negative belief is that would generate those feelings, and change it, and let go of it. And then you will find that you don't have those intentions, you don't have those feelings. And you will be now acting on things only in a positive and an aligned way. It's that simple. You just have to have the willingness to explore yourself honestly, so that you can truly admit and own and acknowledge when you do have a negative idea, a negative feeling, and not gloss it over and cover it up and pretend that it's not there. There is nothing to fear about facing those things. You will only discover more of yourself in the exploration. The unknown only contains more of yourself. That's all it can contain. So there is no reason to fear exploring the unknown, or exploring a negative belief that you might have as to why you have it. Exploring it and discovering it and having a conscious realization that you have it is what frees you to change it. If you push it down and push it away or ignore it or bury it, then it will only come back stronger next time, and it will be even more difficult to deal with. So it is the path of least resistance, as soon as you feel anything out of alignment, to deal with it and find out why it's there. And it will always come down to something that you have been taught to believe is true over something else. Decide what's true for you, really true for you, on your definitional level. And when you do that, then you'll be in alignment with yourself, and you will experience your life that way. And give everything that happens in your life a positive meaning if you want to experience a positive effect. If you give things negative meaning, the only effect you can get is a negative one. Because everything is neutral. And only the meaning you give it determines the outcome and the effect that you experience. And I don't mean the way it looks, I mean the way it is experienced by you. Because the idea and the proof of change is not that the outer world has changed. It's that you respond differently to it, even if it looks the same. That's the proof of change. And when you truly have changed, then the outer reflection can change, but not because it has to. Because you wouldn't care whether it changed or not if you were truly generating your own positive state. Because it wouldn't matter what would happen. You would know that no matter what happens, you will only get a positive effect in your life, regardless of what anyone else is getting out of it. And by acting as that positive example to others, you can show them that they can also choose to only experience positive effects in their life, should they so desire to, not that they have to. All that makes sense?
Yes.
All right.
Bashar,
Yes.
can you tell me about masturbation?
What about it?
Good question.
Perhaps you will have to refer to Master Bates to ask that question.
Is it a positive thing or a negative thing?
Do you understand the idea that anything and everything can serve both functions? Everything is fundamentally neutral. So the idea is that any act can serve either a positive or a negative effect. It depends on how it's used. It depends upon the intention behind it. It depends upon the alignment of energy in which the act is done, or the lack of alignment in which the act is done. Every circumstance can serve positive or negative results.
If it's based on your highest excitement at the time.
Well, then you know the answer, yes?
Yes, okay.
But the idea is to pay attention and have the discernment as to why it is actually being done. And I mean anything, not just the example you provided.
But the concept and idea of preserving the semen in your body
Yes.
and not releasing it
Yes.
give you more powers or energy or...
It depends on how you use it.
It depends on how I use it.
Yes.
But if I release it and I can still sustain that capacity of energy...
Have you ever gone to the gym?
Yes.
Have you ever run?
Yes.
Have you ever sweated?
Yes.
Well, you released a lot of water from your body. Didn't you need it?
Yeah.
Did it reduce your power?
For temporary.
And then what did you do?
Regenerated.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, then there you go. You sweated it out for what you believed was a positive action, yes?
Yes.
You got positive benefits out of losing all that moisture from your body, yes?
Yes.
So you have to pay attention to the intention behind the act. If it is truly your excitement, then by definition it cannot harm you. The duty that you have is to be honest enough with yourself as to whether the intention behind it actually is positive or negative. Because many of you have the capacity to fool yourselves and think that you're doing something exciting when in fact it's not representative of your excitement. And vice versa.
So how do you know for sure?
You have to have honesty and willingness to explore and be honest with yourself about the motivations behind what you choose to do.
I see.
And if you are that honest and that willing, you'll figure it out.
I see. Would you be able to tell me anything about the man that was known as Osho?
Define.
Osho Rajneesh?
Oh, all right. What do you wish to know?
Just if there's anything you can tell me that was why, like around his, the meaning he was here on Earth.
The meaning?
Because it seemed like
the meaning was to experience the life that he experiences. The idea is to act as a reflection for those that need to look at things from a certain perspective.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Remember that any tool, any technique, any ritual, and any form of delivering information is nothing more than a permission slip that will attract those that require that permission slip to trigger themselves to be more of who they are. So different people will do it in different ways and present themselves in different ways that will be representative of a certain frequency and vibration that works for certain people. Doesn't mean it has to work for everyone. Even the information we deliver, we know, will not work for everyone. But the idea is that we represent the information along a certain frequency domain, and that frequency domain is something that many people will gravitate towards and utilize because they are of a similar frequency. Yes?
Okay.
So any such teacher, any such master, any such reflection is for the purpose of making sure that all the different belief systems that exist on your planet are accounted for and at least given an opportunity to find the information that is needed in the way that works best for them.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
All right.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
Would you be able to tell me anything about this whole thing? There's some whole thing on the internet about the reevaluation of currencies around the world.
Well, eventually, you will find that your monetary system on your planet will change. It may not do so right away, but the idea is that you are already exploring the idea of how you can create a different form of exchange on your planet because you recognize that many of the old systems are no longer really viable for the way that you prefer things to be. It will exist for a while, but eventually, many years to come, you will find that your so-called medium of exchange will actually be the skills and abilities and gifts that people themselves have to give, have to share. This is the ultimate form of the exchange that will occur on your world eventually. But for a while you will experiment with and explore different ways of valuating and different ways of creating what you call credit and so on and so forth, until such time as you realize that the only true value that exists in your world that is not arbitrary is the abilities and skills that you each have to give to one another. Yes?
Okay.
The idea of truly going forward with a true revamping of your modalities of exchange on your planet will also require the dissolving of many of your political, sociological, religious borders and ideas. And so as those all begin to change, everything will change together. One thing will inform another, and other things will inform this, and things will change, and this will change a little, and this will change a little, until you have a holistic system that works for you globally, eventually. Yes?
The idea of selling your soul, does
Yes.
that actually exist?
Not literally in the way that you mean.
No.
But the idea is to simply compromise your integrity. and be out of alignment with your true vibration. That's really all it means, is to not be true to yourself.
Okay, gotcha.